Hey guys, welcome to my Kallari guide. This is for the rework Kallari, so this applies to patch version 40.1 and even after version 40.1. So if there's any drastic changes that happen to Kallari, I will be updating this guide video and putting another new one. But for now, this is a solid build right here. Before we begin, I do have the timestamps on the screen right now, so you can go into those timestamps if you would just want to get quickly to the information and you don't want to hear me ramble on, because right now I'm just going to be talking about facts about Kallari for the Kallari rework and things you need to know, because this is not just a build rework, it's also just a guide for Kallari in general. So things you need to know about current rework Kallari before you start playing Kallari. Your passive, the stealth at 35% health, it's pretty much instant. There is no transition time. It basically is just instant. There's no transition time like with Q. There's, she slowly drifts into stealth. The passive has still 35% health. There's no transition time. It's pretty much instant once you drop below 35% health. Your passive, the same thing, stealth at 35% health, does not require any abilities to be unlocked. You don't need abilities to be unlocked for that passive to work. The same passive will not take you out of stealth upon basic attack until you unlock your Q, meaning once you hit 35% stealth, you can basic attack a target for 8 seconds while stealthed. So that same passive, it will not take you out of stealth when you auto attack until you unlock your Q. I don't know if this is a bug or whatever, but once you drop below 35% health, it's like you can basically attack in stealth for 8 seconds while in stealth for the whole duration. Now that's not exactly ideal because you need your Q leveled up, but it's just something to keep in mind. I don't know if it's intentional or a bug or whatever, but it's there. Another fact, she can stealth, double jump, and one-shot the safe lane buff. Really helpful to keep an eye on the timer. So if you're playing offlane Kallari, jungle Kallari, mid lane Kallari, you can steal the enemy jungle gold buff, so you can just double jump, stealth, then double jump, auto attack at once. That's a dead gold buff. You steal the enemy gold buff. It's fantastic, pretty much instantaneous. The slow on her ultimate lasts until she finishes the animation and is able to attack. So as she winds it up, when she does that thing, as soon as you do that, the enemy is already slowed. Now once you get there to the enemy and she does that spin, she gets to the enemy, that person is not slowed anymore until you're able to auto attack. So something to keep in mind. So the triple jump, space, which is what it is now. You don't press E to triple jump. I know it's on E, but you have to press space. So keep that in mind. Triple jump, it's not unlocked until you unlock your E. And lastly, once you unlock your Q, Kallari has a lot more burst from her passive stealth if it's used aggressively. If you engage from stealth and have passive stealth proc, you are having 2 instances of bonus damage on auto attacks. So on some occasions when you're dropping low health, your Q passive triggers and you go into stealth, right? So you can use that to play aggressive, and the slash bonus applies to that because you're in shadow plane, right? So let's say you're being ganked by a steal. He ulted and boom, your Q procs, you become stealthed. You didn't press Q, like it's the passive. When you get targeted below 35% health, your Q triggers. You can auto attack and then press Q again, and then auto attack, and then auto attack, and then applies 2 slash bonuses pretty much instantaneously twice, just like that. So just something to keep in mind as Kallari with her Q. That's about it. Now we're gonna move in towards the build. Okay guys, so here is my short version of this Kallari guide video for her rework build, which explains in detail how I build my Kallari. In detail from top to bottom, exactly what I do in what order. So if you guys want to see this, I will be putting this in the description down below so you can see it for yourself. It's on Agora.gg, which is well known for, making card decks and all that. So this is basically the short version. If you don't want to see the whole video and you just want the build and you don't want information that's in depth of my reasons behind why I get these items, you can simply click on the description for this and it tells you everything. I want to try to make this as convenient as possible for you guys so you guys can quickly get to the information that you want. That's why I put this as a disclaimer here for you guys. So check it out if you want. Alright, so now we're gonna go into Kallari's build and explain that in detail. Now keep in mind, I'll try to make this as convenient as possible for you guys, so, and what I mean by that is I'm gonna put timestamps for this whole video so you just get to the point of everything. Now keep in mind, this build is the same as you would go for jungle, mid lane, or off lane. So the only difference is you don't go Stalker Siphon if you're not jungling, and you would go Healer Token with a health bot if you're going off lane or mid lane. So just keep that in mind. So let's say we're jungling, alright? We start Stalker Siphon. It gives you lifesteal and gives you attack speed. And basic attacks on jungle minions restore 8 health. Because Kallari needs sustain as a jungler because she does not excel at jungling like other heroes do. Like Chimera, Grux, etc, etc. These heroes are more efficient with jungling rather than Kallari. So Stalker Siphon helps with that. Big time. That's definitely a core starting item on Kallari. Next up, your goal is really to go for Thunder Cleaver. Your main goal is getting Thunder Cleaver early with 3 minor kinetics. Sorry, you need minor kinetics because Kallari needs Thunder Cleaver as soon as possible, and minor kinetic really helps you get to that as soon as possible. The active is really good, and it also helps you jungle clear really well, and also you can Q. Basic attack and then Thunder Cleaver, so it adds that additional damage. One thing to keep in mind is you don't want to use Thunder Cleaver before the stealth because it actually cancels your slash bonus damage. Like you Q, basic attack, and then Thunder Cleaver. So try to understand your attack speed, try to understand the animation of the auto attack. Just use them at the right time. Because if you use Thunder Cleaver, it basically puts you out of stealth and you completely avoid your slash bonus, which is the most important thing with Kallari, is so that you land your slash bonus to do the most amount of damage possible. So that's your goal, Thunder Cleaver, 5 CXP, and then try to go for the upgrades after. Now if you can't get enough, if you're in a rush, you can get Assassin's Ward before Thunder Cleaver, but I highly recommend you try to go for that 5 CXP. Try your best to get that. It's so efficient and really good on Kallari, especially early game. It also helps you in the late game with split pushing, which Kallari is also very good at. So Thunder Cleaver, absolutely. Next up, get Assassin's Ward. Don't get the upgrades for Assassin's Ward, just get Assassin's Ward by itself, and get the upgrades at a later time. Next up, you want to go for all these 3 Void Steel Daggers, but without the upgrades. Just buy Void Steel Dagger, Void Steel Dagger, Void Steel Dagger. Make sure that the minor strikes are put in the active section because you want the active section reserved for Thunder Cleaver and Siren Song. So I put, if you want my opinion, I put number 1 Thunder Cleaver, number 2 Siren Song, which we get later on, and number 3 for the Assassin's Ward. Okay, so keep that in mind. So make sure you put Voice of the Dagger, Minor Strike in the active section that you're going to buy a Siren Song in. So yeah, you buy all of them, and then you keep Voice Steel Dagger, the Major Strike one, at number 5 or number 6 at the very right. So make sure. Now you wanna, once you get all of the Voice of Daggers, then you start upgrading. So upgrade this, and then sell them both, the Minor Strikes one, and fully upgrade it into a Voice Steel with all Major Strikes. Now you want to sell them because they're Minor Strikes and there are better items that you can get later on. So you don't want these Voice Steel Daggers till late game. You want to sell them, get Voice Steel Dagger with 3 Major Strikes. You only need 1 Voice Steel Dagger. You don't need to stack it to be effective. There are also really other good cards for Kallari. So that's how you start off here. This is basically your early to mid game. Now let's get to the big stuff. So now that you're done with all the Voice Steel Daggers and you got your Major Strike Voice Steel Dagger, next up, this is where you start upgrading your Assassin's Ward. 2 Major Strikes with a Sinister Pierce. Now the reason we go Sinister Pierce is because we need basic penetration, and Kallari kind of loves that type of thing. Voice Steel Dagger also gives you basic penetration, so your auto attacks deal substantial, decent damage. That's when people start to build armor as well. And you just want it because it doesn't just penetrate armor from cards, it also penetrates base armor, which every hero in this game has. So every hero in this game has a set base armor, so penetrating that should be your priority at this stage of the game, because you want to be able to deal good damage. So absolutely finish Assassin's Ward, upgrade it to Sinister Pierce with 2 major strikes. The reason we go 2 major strikes is because Assassin's Ward is going to be a card that's going to stay with you for the entirety of the match. So you want to keep this all the way to late game. You're not selling Assassin's Ward. Vision's always important. It helps you with Orb Prime, it helps you with split pushing even, and warding inside the jungle so you can split push and make sure everything's clear. So keep Assassin's Ward, get the upgrades. Next up, you want to go for double Windcarver blades. Same thing as with Void Steel Dagger. We buy all the Void Steel Daggers without completing the recipe. Same here. We buy 2 Windcarvers, we don't upgrade them. Now, once you buy these 2, instantly go for a Siren Song. So you don't upgrade these yet. You just buy them and you keep them there. Now put your Siren Song on the active section at number 2 or whatever number you want. Get Siren Song and fully upgrade Siren Song with 3 lesser drains. This item is fantastic, especially in the late game, where auto attacking is very important for Kallari, and you want to consistently be able to stick to your enemies. And this really helps. Basically what Siren Song does is, it's an active. For 6 seconds, on hit with basic attacks, they steal movement speed from the target for 3 seconds. And that stays in there for 6 seconds, which is fantastic. So, you go in with Q, auto attack, Thunder Cleaver, then activate Siren Song, and then just keep attacking, keep whacking away. The reason we get this item is so we can stick to our enemies as much as we can. At this point we have decent attack speed, we have armor penetration, we're in good shape to deal consistent good damage. So Siren Song really helps you stick to your enemy. Even if they try to escape, you still steal their movement speed, and every auto attack, every basic attack, sorry, steals movement speed. So you can just keep chasing and keep going after them. And I think this is a fantastic item on Kallari, and should be a priority in my opinion in the later stages of the game, because it helps you stick to your enemies, and it has that really good capability of the late game. So it really works. It works well. It's a lifesteal, so it gives you extra sustain, survivability, so it's also fantastic. Grab Siren Song. Next up, you just want to complete 2 of your Windcarver blades, so you finish the one with the major kinetic, and then major strike, and then finish this one, which is lower upgrades, because you want the one that does more, right? And at this point, you are exactly at 60 CXP, and you have everything that you need. That's pretty much it for Jungle Kallari. For offlane Kallari, you simply get healer tokens and health pot. Strike tokens are there because at some occasions you don't have enough money. Like let's say you have 4 CXP and you can't get Thunder Cleaver, which is 5 CXP. So you get a couple of strike tokens and then discard them once you have enough. So they're just there like as a, if you don't have enough CXP, you just get a little bit of damage to help you out. That is pretty much it for the Kallari build for offlane, jungle, and mid lane. I hope this helped out. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see y'all on Monolith. Peace out.